Good evening. It is a Thursday night. I am a Screaming Wyvern, and I call myself Wyvern because I cannot ever manage to log into anything on time. No, it's more because of the fact that I hoard role-playing games like a dragon, and like a Wyvern, I'm unbalanced and potentially toxic. But, probably don't want to eat me anyways, so it all works out. And tonight I am taking a few of my favorite things, which would be the world of XCrawl, solo role playing, which is what I do every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. No, where the hell did that come from? I'm in Pacific time. This is Pacific time, and Five Nights at Freddy's, which I'm very excited about right now because there's going to be a new game coming out tomorrow. So I've been looking forward to that. And because of that, I figured, why not go ahead and do something posing as Five Nights at Freddy's related. So, what exactly is going on here? Well, let's go ahead and start with the obvious first question, which is, I'm a geek. Second one, solo role playing is a game masterless experience where you go ahead and use most of the tools of role playing for a self-guided story. In a lot of ways, it can be storytelling with extra steps. Since I am using a rule set, that's a little low. Jeez. Poor Lefty. Since I'm using a rule set that obviously makes the game run as less of a pure storytelling, to keep things from becoming too predictable, I will be using a book called The Mythic Game GM Emulator, which uses what they like to call oracles to make sure that you don't always know what's going on or going to happen. More importantly, how is the game Five Nights at Freddy's? And of course, if you can tell by the lovingly joking name I've given it, 1 week at Lord Fredrick's will be, of course, based on the first one. So there's two main mechanics at play in the first Five Nights game. Number one is the fact that as you play through the nights, the animatronics become more and more unstable. That is going to be replicated in Mythic with the combination of the chaos level and how likely it is that something is going to happen. So, on night one, if you're familiar with the games, you've got Chica the chicken. She will move off of the stage and into the party room. She will then head into the hallway near you, probably stop off at the kitchen, and then show up outside your office. but it's not guaranteed. It's not a absolutely, you know, every few seconds it does that. Every few seconds, it actually does a check, which is almost identical to what I've got set up with the mythic thing, where it's like, is she going to move? Is she going to move now? Is she going to move now? Um, this also leads to the uncomfortable situations where she'll be standing outside the door and you'll be losing power and you'll be screaming at her because she's going to kill you on night one because the is she going to move question keeps coming up. No, no, she's just going to kind of stand there and watch you. Um, that is why sometimes the early nights can be harder than the later nights because those same roles can screw you over, which of course once again makes it a perfect representation of how role-playing games work. So the other thing is we have a power system. There are two doors in the office which are open by default. They require power to close. There is a camera system, which requires power, and there are two lights, one outside each door. Hardly anyone ever needs to use those, but it's part of the rules. So, if you are familiar, we'll go ahead and move over to the XCrawl side of things. Dungeons and Dragons 3rd Edition. We have rounds, which are an attack phase. So one person starts, it goes around, and then it's that person's turn again, or opportunity, or whatever. Because turn is what happens when goes all the way around. So technically speaking, a turn takes about a minute total, with everyone taking like 6 seconds actions. In addition to that, there is a wandering monster check period of 10 minutes. Comparing those time frames to the game's time frames gives us a pretty good one-to-one where we're going to have every 10 minutes there's going to be a check. The check will include, is the animatronic moving? What was powered on in the last 10 minutes? And how much energy did all the stuff that was powered on take? That being said, this is still a role-playing game, which means that I have more than ample opportunities to go ahead and throw all concepts out the window. Specifically, no, Lefty, no. Specifically, the ones where in the actual game, you're kind of trapped at a doorway. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring up my second screen here. Okay, I would love you to check out Soul Cemetery, but that isn't actually pertinent today. So let's see. I will be using as a battle map Owlbear Rodeo. I want Owlbear Rodeo probably right over here. That looks like a good place for it. Owlbear Rodeo is just a battle map program. And I've kind of grown fond of it from that. Let's go ahead and put all of our PDFs up here for now. Yes. And what I need to bring up here is this table right here. Well, isn't there a version of the fate chart that uses 20 instead of 100? Why aren't you more prepared for this, Mr. Wyvern? Hush. I'm a game master. We are never prepared for anything. Okay, so yeah, I'll be using 100-sided dice. That's fine. Okay, one fate chart later. Get that zoomed in pretty good. Okay, and for my last trick, I'm going to go ahead and load up World Anvil. Which is something that I need to use far more often. Okay, resume EU. And I think I'm going to go ahead and instead of showing the whole page, let's just give you that is it indeed. Okay. Don't need to see some of this. Or like you don't care about some of this. Maybe you don't care about that. So and I also have my character. And this is going to turn it from just me goofing around into a actual XCrawl basics, because I will be playing an actual character instead of just part of one. So what I mean by that, we have been doing 0 level characters for a while here. And now I am going to be actually... That's not right. Starting to work with actual character classes. For instance... just go, baby. Tonight's character, the athlete. Let's turn off screen too. Let's go ahead and get Owlbear Rodeo properly on its own page. There we go. And one more thing. I swear I was all prepared and then I wasn't. Oh, there you are. That's very silly. Okay. Got that there. Got that there. And I kind of have this here. And this should be all the way at the top. But it is not. Okay, that's what I wanted. Get rid of the Chrome stuff. And we are all set. So, let us go ahead and do a quick look at the character. His name is Michael Schmidt. He, as we can see from the occupation, used to be a security guard. Discussing this, I'll go ahead and pull up to the front. But now he is an athlete. An athlete is based on the Greek Olympians of old, where they have training in every single part of the Olympic Games. So wrestling, weaponry, running, whatever. Michael is a level 1 character. He has ended up with good to middling stats. He's very strong, agile, has good stamina, and good personality, but is not lucky and not necessarily that intelligent, which doesn't need to be, or actually is a downside in this particular story. So, he comes into this with an armored jacket and a combat flashlight, but where Mr. Schmidt really excels is grappling and other forms of wrestling. So, why is he here? Because something has gone wrong with his life? I am not ready to say yet, because that would add complexity to an already complicated game, but let's go ahead and start off with the fact that he is a member of, well, let's go ahead and say there are various divisions in the XCrawl. Division 4 is collegiate and semi-pro. And that's where Michael sits. In fact, the reason why he is a level 1 character, despite the fact that he has had some experience in the dungeon, as it were, is because he's been playing in what's known as the Boffer Leagues, which is what you are probably most familiar with when you think of a live-action role-playing game. The weapons are padded. The spells available are amazingly limited. And, frankly, it's not deadly. In fact, it's so not deadly that actual monsters cannot be used in Division 4. You can have people wearing masks, but that's as far as it goes. But for some reason, Michael is no longer allowed to play in the semi-pro. He's not even allowed to come in as a professional monster. And he's been doing this for years. So, interesting story probably there. Just not one for tonight. Because tonight, we are talking about Lord Fredrick's Pasta Palace. Because we're not going to completely rip off Five Nights, are we? Yes, we are. Oh, God. Yes, we are. So, Lord Fredrick's Pasta Palace was a beloved children's restaurant known for good food at a reasonable price. And, of course, the world-famous Fredrick's Palace minstrels for high-tech animatronics. There was Lord Fredrick Bear, Squire Boone the Rabbit, Lady Francesca the Chick, and Voss the Fox. Then at least 5 children went missing, and the owners of the palace had no choice but to shut down the restaurant. They opened up a new location a year later with a set of security robots claiming the names of their predecessors. The new palace had to be shut down just a few months after opening when the security robots were hacked, began acting hostile towards parents, and even attacked a staff member, leaving them brain dead, but, unfortunately, alive. The owners made one last effort, reopening the original location with the original 4 animatronics, but sales are low. Worse, there seems to be some kind of problem at night, and Ralph, who has worked at the palace for as long as it's been open, has just stopped showing up to work. So, Schmidt's job is to work as security guard during the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. During those times, to save a little bit of extra money, the place is on a off the grid. So it's running basically on a giant battery. The pay is insultingly low, barely a gold and a half per night, but beggars can't be choosers, as they say. And of course, for tonight, the part of Michael Schmidt will be played by this absolutely beautiful individual. He seems vaguely familiar to me, but looks can be deceiving. So, it being midnight, those doors behind him have been closed. And I do quickly want to go ahead and zoom out and appreciate the work of the map's creator. This was provided by, let me go ahead and make sure I get the name right. Well, I suppose that's one way of doing it. Awkward Game Master on Reddit. Also on YouTube, if you're headed over there, I do have his links in my more information on here. But he put these out a year or so ago, and they're absolutely perfect for what I am doing here. Because when it comes down to it, he had the same idea I had. Let's go ahead and do a Five Nights at Freddy themed Dungeons and Dragons game. So as we can see, right here, we've got a couple of bathrooms. Fortunately, it's not my job to keep those clean. If we come in here, that brings us to the main pizza place. Party place, I mean. There is a stage over there and another one over here. You've probably already noticed that I've used the most frightening imaginable tokens for the lethal monsters that we're going with. I've taken the horror of this extremely seriously. If we go over here, we do have a parts and services where there is a one of the endoskeletons for the animatronics for some reason. But where we are going to be spending our night is over here. Past the storage area. And in this lovely little, well, we probably shouldn't call it a cell, although it might as well be given the size of it. We have two security doors. As mentioned, these run on, these can only be closed electrically. So, draining power to do it. We've got this laptop here from which he can use any of the cameras, which have reasonably good low light vision. We have a camera on the left and right. We have another one further down the hall, in the storage closet, facing towards the pirate stage, which it should be noted is out of order. There's one back here on the stage proper, and one facing the pizzeria, and there's actually one here, but it's broken, so no one can be completely sure of what's going on in there. So, let's go ahead and start off with our first little question to our fate chart. It's the first night, so we're going to go ahead and start the chaos factor. Did I decide one or two? I decided two. So, because this is the first night, I'm going to say that it's very unlikely But I have made certain plans for how tonight is going to go. And I want to start off by asking, is everything going to go as I expected? So, very unlikely with a chaos factor of 2. If I roll a 5 or below, something different is going to happen. So, 100. And that gives us 34, which is a no. Everything is happening exactly as we expected. So, quickly see if I can do 2d100 and get 2. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so the question is, in the first 10 minutes, is Bonnie or Chica, or I have, as I have named them, Squire Boone and Lady Francesca, will one of them be moving? And the answer to the first question is yes. So we know that Lord Boone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, that's not how these work. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 20 feet. Has wandered out of his place. So, not knowing that, the logical thing for me to be doing is going ahead and taking a gentle stroll around to see what I can expect. So, I have a movement of 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Which means I don't get very far. Definitely not in Bonnie's line of sight. So, if we assume that Bonnie's initiative was higher than mine, he's going to go ahead and make his move. No, wait, actually, he's going to stay there until he has a chance to do a check. So, I'm going to get here. And at that point, I'm going to realize that Sir Boone is wandering around. This is a bad situation. This is where I would say roll for initiative. Boone's initiative is the 20 plus 2. So he has a 13. I get a measly plus 1. They are tied. That makes it... Well, his initiative is plus 2. My initiative is plus 1. So I think... Actually, no, that... This says 13. This says 13. I should probably pay attention to the fact that the actual number is 13. So Bonnie gets to go first. So move and attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fortunately for me, he doesn't move too fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, since he can't attack. I, in the meantime, am going to go ahead and run like frick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have no idea what I was counting anymore. I just completely lost the plot there. And of course, slamming both doors down. So 3 items activated. In fact, I would say I slam both of them down, and I go ahead and turn on this camera so that this camera up here, so I can keep an eye on him. Just taking some notes. So it's at this point that I get a phone call. Let's pull up the script here. So, actually, when I pick up the phone, I find out that it's already been ringing, and what I get is, hello? I wanted to record a message for you, help you get settled on your first night. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact. So I know it can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. You'll do fine. So let's just keep focus on getting you through your first week. The animatronic characters do get a bit quirky at night, and they tend to wander a bit. They're left in some free roaming mode at night, something about their servos locking up if they get turned off for too long. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know? The only real risk to you as the night watchman here, if any, is the fact that these characters, if they happen to see you after hours, they probably won't recognize you as a person. They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on, and that's against the rules, so they'll probably try to forcibly stuff you inside a suit. If the suits weren't already filled with endoskeletons, could cause a bit of discomfort. So I forgot to change my my silly naming convention, didn't I? The point is, long and the short, there is no outside line. So whatever else, the doors are sealed, just like these are stuck open unless there's electricity. The ones up front are stuck closed unless there's electricity. So I get to watch no matter what. So at this point, Lord Boone is obviously going to continue taking his turns. So this is round 2. Round 3. because he knows exactly where I'll be. And round 4. Now, at this point, he's got a closed door. So he's probably going to stand and wait to see what I do. So this is where our next check comes in. Do either of them move? So we are at 12:10, and we had 4 items activated, which means the power is now. The office is always has light on, and everything else. So that drains 1 power per Wandering Monster check, and the rest, each other item, will be 2. So right now, the power is at 94%. In the game, there's a blatantly obvious sign of where the power is, so I'm going to assume that's somehow available here. So Michael here obviously has been hired to guard the animatronics, so it would probably look really bad if he were to, say, hurt them in some way. But that doesn't change the fact that there's this guy right outside the door. So for right now, since the battery is actually showing, he's got 3 things on, and it's showing, a danger zone for that. Some of the stuff can be turned off. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to start off by taking a look around to see if anyone else is going. So he's going to check the cameras real quickly, especially this one right here. And it looks like the chicken is still where she should be. Nobody else in the party room. This is still showing out of order. This is creepy, but otherwise not a problem. And there's nobody in here. So it looks like it's safe for him to go ahead and open up one of the doors and close the monitors. Although he's already obviously done a lot with that. So that's going to come back to haunt him next check. So I can't say that if I were in his position, which based on the picture I am, I'd go ahead and spend the night just sitting here. So I think flashlight on. Where were we? 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. $10, $15, $20, $30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. So I'm going to say that Mike's going to spend some time making himself a snack. So right now, we're on check 3. 3 items are activated, so the power, or 1 is currently activated. He just used the camera a lot, so that brings the power down by 5. So that would leave me at 88. Okay. We do our check. And let me just take a look at my notes and make sure that I've got the likelihood where I want them. So yeah, very unlikely right now. That will change. But 93.79. So the question is, are they going to move? Now, you'll see that there's this little... actually, the question I have is, are they going to activate? So an 82 means that we have an answer of no and no but, which means that something also positive is going to happen, which I have already decided means that Boone is going to start making his way back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So he's right there. Mike is still snacking. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if Mike were to look out right now, he would see that Squire Boone is keeping put or headed back. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's back in place. Okay. Time for the next check. This time I've only got 2 items that were used. So that's 3, 85. 25 and 82. Nobody's moving. So a little worried about the battery powered. Maybe this is actually where that power drain is coming from, because we've got 2 chest freezers here. But I don't know how the Pizza Palace works. Their decision to cut off the grid, maybe they bring stuff home at night. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. When he came out here, he didn't see anything. Went around as fast as he could, knowing that he's got eyes on things. 5, 10, 15, 20, 2530, and back in here. So, one more scan of all the cameras shows that Squire Boone is back here, which means you can go ahead and open the doors. But now Mike has a pretty good idea of what's going on in here. So the question is, what does he do about it? So since we would have checked the cameras first, there's a power drain of 3 items for another 5. And at this time, no one is moving. So Mike spends the time from 12:50 to 1 going through the cameras, leaving the power at 77 at the end of this. So did they activate? They did not. Okay. So that moves us up a step. Haven't run into anything too much of a difference yet. We do have a much higher, well, since the first one was 1, we've literally doubled that. So looking at the monitors is doing little but spending power. So the best thing to do is get to a place where he can keep an eye on things without them necessarily keeping an eye on him. And honestly, the best plan for that would be to hide himself behind one of these tables. Because now he's got the option of the kitchen or his security room. So we do our first check, and no one's in the mood to move. Second check. Almost got Boone moving again. Third check. Need to keep my notes going. So, just a small decline in power for these checks. Okay, so obviously at this point, Mike starts to think that maybe he's the one with the problem. It's 10 minutes until 2, and absolutely nothing has happened. And he's hiding behind under a table. So, not the greatest look. So yeah. Time to go ahead and head back into the office. So, meanwhile, our odds have gone up just a little bit of something happening. As you can see on this check 11, so 20 to 2. Right now, Francesca would be wandering off. So, Mike is here, sitting in the office, assuming that he's kind of losing it. Which is going to make him stop and think about, why he's in this position in the first place. It wasn't his fault. He's a good person. Sometimes, when you're a crawler, even Division 4, things get heated. They get problematic. And he didn't mean to do anything wrong. It just happened that the padding wasn't good enough. And he's sure that they'll be fine. Everything he's heard says that they'll be fine. It's just that at that particular time, he should not have been swinging at them. So maybe it's on him. And hopefully everything will get cleared up. He just needs to, keep himself alive until that happens. Okay. So, with things being so quiet, he's just about dozed off at this point. So we don't really have a perception check, but a lot of that stuff, like finding traps and stuff, goes under an intelligence check. He doesn't have very high intelligence, so he's not getting a bonus to this. We're going to say it's 10. He needed it at 10. So, he thinks he hears something. So he's going to flip on the cameras to see what that is. And sure enough, when he gets to this camera right here, there's a lovely view of Bonnie coming down the hallway. And I have to say that, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually pretty much where Bonnie would be if you caught him on this camera at this time. So that works out nicely. Oh, so now Mike is going to choose between see what exactly is going on and hope for the best. Find out exactly what quirky means, obviously being the big thing here. Or go ahead and close the door just to be on the safe side. Because, let's be honest, animatronics, when you're not expecting them, kind of spoopy. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and close the door. So by the time we have our next check, Squire Boone is going to be right there. Now, in the version of the original game that I've played the most, which is the VR version, you're kind of able to go ahead and crane your neck a bit and see through the window. So I'm not going to use power for the lights. Okay, so it is now 3 o'clock. Which means that things are a lot more likely to happen. 43:27. Nobody is moving yet. Mike just has to sit here with this rabbit outside. He keeps glancing at it, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. And good news for him, at 3:20, I believe, Bonnie does start making his Boone, we've decided his name is Boone, is going to start making his way up to the stage. So with him no longer behind the window, Mike's going to go ahead and carefully try to take a look. Ducks back there. But yeah, all Bonnie does is just head on back to the stage. So he can go back and let the door go. And he looks over and he notices that, okay, it is 3:30. The power is down to 59. That's the funny number if one of you has no butt, I think. Okay, my brain started going into why a 5 would make more sense than a 6 for that anyway, but I won't share that with anyone. I'll move on from that Quickly make sure I've got my times right. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1 o'clock. Yes. All of my numbers are as they should be. Except it's 20 past, not half past. So, does anything? Now it's 4 o'clock, which means that it's now very likely that something is going to happen. And this time, what's going to happen is that Miss Francesca, the chicken, is going to make her way down. But she's not interested in Mike. Oh, no, 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 no. She's interested in the kitchen. Now, the thing is, Mike left something in the kitchen. So that means that despite the fact that there'd normally be a check to see if she goes into the kitchen, no, she's absolutely beelining it. So we're going to see if Bonnie starts moving as well, and he does. So right now, unbeknownst to Mike, but knownst to us, both of them are wandering around. So with no active reason to do anything, they're not going to be heading straight to him this time. He's just going to hang out here. 35. He's going to head into the hallway now. We'll go ahead and let's see if Mike hears anything, intellectually speaking, and he does not. So the power is almost halfway gone. So Mike is somewhere between bored and a little bit confused and stressed as to what the word quirky means. And Chica, at this point, has done all she needs to with whatever was left of Michael's snack. And both of them are going to move into their new areas. So Bonnie likes to hang out in this storage place. He's still here. She's still here. Let's roll that correctly. Okay. So for Bonnie, we got a he doesn't move, and he's heading back to the stage. Which means it is now 4 o'clock. 20, 30, 40, 50. And just as silly as it is in the game, I'm back on my stage. I'm bored. Let's go ahead and go. So this is our 410. And with a 35, that means that Chica is now prowling the party stage as well. 420. And they're both staying put. 430. And they're both moving down the hallway. Now, with two of them moving, surely Mike will hear one of them. No, he will not. He's not smart enough to recognize what the noise was. Bonnie's staying put. Francesca is staying put there, but Boone is in his little hideaway. Did I hear a humping and thumping? Okay, that time I did. That time he did hear something going on. And this is where things get roleplay. Because if we go through the cameras, we'll see that there's a chicken coming towards us this side. There's a rabbit coming towards us this side. We can just go ahead and sit and see what happens, or we can go ahead and see what its plans are. So Mike's going to go ahead and head straight to the door. And that means we need to do an initiative roll. Bonnie gets a 15. Mike gets a 9. So Bonnie sees him first. So Bonnie's going to go ahead and do what he was planning on doing when he got to Mike and crack him upside the head with his guitar. Let's go ahead and move the character sheet where we can see it. Oh no, my beautiful face. Okay. So, as we can see, we've got an armor class of 12. Bonnie here is a big old bunny. So he gets a +4 on his roll. So he swings that guitar at Mike and manages to miss, much to Mike's appreciation. Now, Mike is currently in a bad place because everyone gets attack of opportunities in the XCrawl Classics rule set. So if Mike tries to get back to his spot, it's not necessarily going to work too well. So he's going to go ahead and use a second copy of this open for myself. Grapple, 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 grapple. Okay. He is using snatch item. Now, he is not very well trained, so this is not very likely to happen. But he's going to go ahead and try and... So, what's my character sheet say? Grapple check. D20 +1 plus training die. His training die is D3. Okay, so as far as grabbing the rabbit, he absolutely has. As far as grabbing the item from his hand, he has not. But what he can do at this point is something along the line of pinning him down, holding him by the arm. Which means he's going to be able to do 1d3 +1. I forget if that takes, if he also gets the... Let's see. Damage is 1d4 plus the strength modifier plus the training die result. So, yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and roll a 1d4. And he does 2, 4, 5 points of damage to the rabbit, who, it should be noticed, is 4th level. So now... 6 hit points left. Okay. So it's Boone's turn now. They need to do a... Oh, no, he doesn't do the damage yet. Okay. So it's still at 31. So basically, Bonnie needs to do a strength check against that 20 that was inflicted on him. And since his strength is probably that +4, he was able to free himself. And swings around to backhand Mike, which definitely is a hit. I have his damage basically just as a club if he's not doing anything else. So 6, add that 4 damage, and that is cute. That is leaving Michael with 4 hit points. So that's no good. He better get himself back to the office. So he moves, which makes him a attack of opportunity. And that is a hit with the guitar. Which unfortunately would be the end for Mike if it weren't for the fact that he was brought here for a reason. So Bonnie drags him further into the room. And when Mike wakes up, he can see 3 animatronics. Actually, no, it's going to be all 4. I'm sure they all want to visit. Staring him down. And he hears a clicking and thumping noise as a horrific animatronic of a rabbit that was once yellow in color, probably, shows up and says, you don't seem to be in a place to move anymore, so I think this will be a perfect time for me to try and have some fun with you. And he waves to the animatronics, who all hold him down as this new animatronic starts chanting in a ancient tongue, the tongue of magic, because in this world he was a necromancer all along, and he was trying to use the children's souls. That was not where I wanted to put that. I want to put that here. To try and bring his son back to life. But failing that, what you have to remember is that in the world of XCrawl, magic hates you. And if you offend it, then you will be corrupted by it. And in this case, it started rotting him away. The only way that he found he could survive was by trapping himself inside the suit. So he sort of has a kind of immortality, but not necessarily what he wants. So let's see here. He is a high-level wizard. And of course, I'm talking wizard, not the blasters that we're used to. An actual, honest-to-goodness necromancer. So human sacrifice gives him a +4. He had to be level 9 to have been able to learn a necromantic spell that could restore a human's body. And obviously he's intelligent, so 9, 13. Let's just go ahead and say 15. Okay. Let's actually increase the size of this, because this is where our introduction to Dungeon Crawl Classic rules comes in. Which one is it you? It is. All right. So he is casting a spell called Replication. The caster creates a magical double of themselves to carry out actions, observe distant events, and possibly cheat death. So what he wants is this right here, a duplicate of their own body to harbor their soul. He's had enough time to prepare himself and everything else. So he rolled a 33. The caster creates a duplicate body to harbor the soul of a dead creature, creating the clone, blah, blah, blah. If the soul is of the intended creature is still free and not restrained by magical means. The point is that the necromancer has had his body restored, which kind of sounds like something that an actual team of crawlers might have to deal with at some point in the future. So yeah, this event is canonical to my XCrawl game, and I'm going to have to make sure that my players survive long enough to start looking into this. But for now, that was an extremely complicated look at how Five Nights at Freddy works, how some of the XCrawl rules work, and of course, why, for God's sake, if you think that something weird is happening, don't go straight up to it and say, hey, why are you chasing me? Because, yeah, the answer is never a positive one. So, I have been ScreamingWyvern. This has been Solo Roleplaying Thursdays. If you like what you see, please go ahead and follow me here, either on YouTube or Twitch. ScreamingWyvern is also my handle on TikTok. And Blue Sky. Blue Sky is where I do a lot of my writing. And I'll see you again next week. Until then, remember to be one of the good ones, because there are way too many of the bad. And I'll see you next week. Good night.